hello. Yes, the audio is working. I realised before I came on stream I had unplugged my microphone to do some stuff earlier, and I was like, oh shit. Have I tested the OBS before coming live? I had not, but it's all okay. Ooh, sit back a little bit, Fiona. What? Big face. Hello. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and this is Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs, where for a couple of hours I'll take an RPG that's been sitting on my shelf for an unreasonable amount of time, and we read through it, and we'll see what we like about it. Will we ever play this for either my podcast, what am I rolling, or for, just for fun, because people do that as well, and anything else that catches my eye, whether it's about the game design elements or the accessibility. Yes, unfortunately, I've had to reschedule the stream to even earlier than I'd hoped to, just because I have things to do this evening. It's been a very busy week, and it's still not over, and I still have lots of stuff to do, but I thought I need to do this because it's useful. It's helpful to do. So I hope you are doing very, very well today, wherever you are in the UK. A bit grim, a bit grey here, we're in my part of London, but yeah. Can't complain otherwise. Been doing some recording, been doing lots of reading, basically trying to just be as creative as I can in the little time I have. Yeah, all good. This music's very jaunty, isn't it? I love it. But I hope you are doing well. I didn't even test any of the Nightbot stuff. That's how busy I am. Let me do that right now. So we can get that going through. Oh yeah, look at that. Nightbot's already on it. So let's just get straight into it because time's of the essence. Today, my friends, we are looking at Pendragon 6th edition, specifically the starter set. Now, I'll be honest, again, as with most of these streams, I don't know anything about Pendragon or any of the history behind it, but I know it is one of the games that's always recommended to me as something like this really did change a lot about game design in the UK. It is a it's about Arthurian legend. Quite a lot of people like that sort of thing, the medieval fantasy at its sort of best, I guess, the question mark. So I'm quite interested to see this because I think this year was the launch of the 6th edition, or at least getting the starter set. So I thought, why not get the starter set and have a look through it for this particular stream? So that is what we're going to do. And let's just move over straight away to... from Big Fiona Cam to Tiny Fiona Cam, and well, there's the thing. Of course, I hadn't even bloody. Did I check it? No, of course I didn't. Didn't do anything, did I? Good job. Yeah, and there we go. You can tell I am super prepped today. Gosh, barely. Ooh, what am I doing? What are you doing, Fiona? Ooh, can I was gonna say, why am I doing it on that screen? All right, let's get out of the way. So, you can get Pendragon from Chaosium. I believe it is the publisher. Pendragon starter set. It's written mostly by Greg Stafford, who is quite well known in the tabletop RPG industry, and I think Pendragon is what he's most famous for on that front. Let's just go straight into it. Oh, that writing is bloody tiny, isn't it? And this website is not great. So let's just zoom in, and we'll just go the best of our abilities, eh? Yeah, this has not been optimized for any kind of screens. So, what have we got? We've got, it is the Age of Pendragon. What knight will you become? Interesting, because I played a game called Inspire Isles by Hatchling Games, as usually a watcher of these streams, and your characters are called Pendragons in that, because it is sort of inspired by Arthurian legend, which is also that's my fact even. This is a game of Arthurian legend. Do you believe in chivalry, or do you think might always makes right? There you go. Are you willing to die for honor? Will you fight to rid the world of injustice, or use clout and power to take advantage of those beneath you? Pendragon is a world of brutal medieval realism that focuses on the emotional impact of play and strives to make the players feel as invested, loving, and frightened about their characters as their characters themselves would feel. Pendragon is a game that walks a fine line between lethal reality, and idealism of a visionary life dedicated to the highest value. Yeah, so that's the big in and out. What's inside? I'll just tell you what. I'm going to zoom out, and you just have to believe me. This is what it actually says. I hate things not optimized for my layout. I mean, I could just change the layout, couldn't I? So today we're looking at Starter Set, 6th edition Starter Set. So it contains everything a fledgling game master requires to run a band of freshly knighted characters through several adventures in the historic fantasy of King Arthur's Britain. Words, rules, and adventure. It contains 3 soft books, or 3 PDFs. We have The Adventure of the Sword in the Stone, which is a solo scenario that teaches the basics. We've got The World of Pendragon, which outlines everything you need to know about the setting and the core mechanics of the game. That is the book we're going to be looking at most today. We have then the Sword Campaign, a series of linked, beginner-friendly adventures to take the player knights through 5 in-game years, oh god, in King Arthur's reign. And lastly, we have some appendix sheets, additional rules, setting details that you'll discover as you play the Sword Campaign. Nice. It's also bursting with content to help you transport your tabletop to the time of the round table. Well, the set itself comes with cards allowing you to generate combat encounters and quickly reference enemy combat mechanics. They also contain 8 pre-generated player knights ready for adventure with full colour character art and backstory. And look, you can, oh, we can't see it, but you can download them on the website, so you can already have them there. And you can get it on Roll20 and there's some testimonials, that's the word I was looking at, testimonials there as well. So the actual PDF, as you can see there, is about $15. What's that, like £12? The physical set isn't too pricey, I don't think. Really, what, for $29.99, so £26, £25? Obviously not including shipping. That's not too bad for a starter set, I don't think, when you consider stuff like certain RPGs going for maybe about 40-50 quid right now. Yeah, I will say anything that says brutal realism, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get away from that. So, anyway, let us move away from this and we will go into Pendragon. So, as you can see here, we've got at the top, we have, this is the second book, which is what's got the core rules in it and the main setting that we're going to be looking at. I'll just quickly show you the covers of the other ones. So, let's start with this one. Of course, that's book 1, so this is the Adventure of the Sword and the Stone. So this is the solo quest one, which maybe you as a GM would start out by doing, just to learn the rules, the basics. And we've got that second one there, the Fabled Realm. And then finally the Sword Campaign, so this is the one that has the 5 adventures in it. I will say that one is only 52 pages long. The main rule one is 68 pages, so that's not too much. So it's nice that it's separate, because I think that's the issue I had when we did Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Oh, I don't know if we did do it on this channel or not. When I read through it, the starter set for that is very good, but there's no separate booklet for the rules. You just read the scenario and learn the rules at the same time. Absolute nightmare. Could not abide it. Here's an example of the character sheets we can get. Gosh, there's a lot on them, isn't there? So we've got one there, the double-sided, a little bit of age 21, of course, 21 aren't there? Oh, I was a little bit older than that guy. Oh, nice, hooray! There's a lady here, fantastic. Oh, I'll play her. Nice. Again, obviously these are just example ones. You could always take other folks, change the names, all that sort of thing. But yeah, we're getting like a little. I like that, getting a little house crest, quite nice. Oh, you get a motto as well. That's pretty good, as well as all the other things as well. Nice. So it looks like it's an even split between male and female, but of course, like I said, you can change as and when. I think there's 8 pre-generated characters, they said. So anyway, we'll keep those aside, and then we've got what's in this box, which just tells you what we get in the box. It's like a little sheet that comes with it. So there you go. And I'm not going to look at the cards per se unless it comes relevant. I just thought that would just be easier. Right, with all that out of the way, let's get started. So yeah, as I said, this is 68 pages. We'll see how far we can get with it. Hopefully the rules will be straightforward, and I hope there's not too many double columns. It feels like it's a double columned kind of book. There we go. Oof. Oh, look at that bloody font. Turns out it's not double columns, it's triple columns. The worst. What I do like straight away is that I'm guessing, yeah, so the text in blue is, I presume, hyperlinked, in this document, always good. It looks like there's 11 chapters in total, and then there's a separate table, table of contents just for tables. Brilliant! I don't have to be like going, oh, where's that table you were looking for? I love that, having a separate content, and you know it's the same when you have like image, like a content tables of images, etc. Same for tables. Oh, brilliant! That makes it so much easier to find. Tag yourself. Which one are you? I'm this gentleman here at the bottom. Ooh, that is bright, isn't it? But yeah, in that sort of style of medieval text, isn't it? So chapter 1, another world, another time. Oh wow, is it going to be split up like this? Great. I mean, it's in keeping with the aesthetic. So cool. Let's hope it's easy to read. So Pendragon is a distinctive role-playing game. The rules are focused to fit in a simple system designed to promote a singular gaming experience. The setting may seem strange at first, but you only need to know the rules of knighthood and you'll be as knowledgeable as the heroes of old. This is another world. Medieval Britain of history inherent to the old literature was dismal, violent and a cruel place, with outdated standards of behaviour. Hi there, loved Pendragon. Oh, hi Kev, nice to have you here. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yes, I don't know anything about Pendragon. As always with these streams, I don't know anything about it, so we're just having a look at the starter kit today. The 6th edition starter set, which came out, I'm going to say middle of last year, late last year. So yeah, let me know any thoughts as we go through it, by the way, because like I said, this is brand new to me. I obviously have heard of it, but I've never had a chance to play it or read through. This is my first time reading through. But I hope you're doing well, Kev. Setting the game in this world was a deliberate choice alongside the dark tones comes hope for a brighter tomorrow. In the campaign, the game master paints a harsh background as the reality within which characters move. Initially, the game master's characters are merciless and brutal. Player knights may choose to remain in that unenlightened realm of history. This kind of behaviour does not penalise them, but neither rewards them. But they also have a choice to join the fight to improve the world. Their actions can stand as shining lights of acceptable behaviour, breaking the old ways and preparing for a better realm. The story of King Arthur and is about the struggle to improve life. With his faithful knights, he manifests the dream of a better world. The game dramatises this heroic effort in its play. Great rewards go to those who strive to improve the kingdom. King Arthur changes the world slowly to be sure, but in general for the better. Bloodthirsty warlords, selfish sorcerers, and even the environment itself in the form of enchanted woods and forbidden wastelands all conspire against these changes. The player knights are an important part of struggle for the betterment of Britain. Oh wow, look at that image. No, gorgeous map. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And again, I would hope something like that would come in the starter set as an actual like fold-out map or something, because that is gorgeous. And it's just, you know, I'll zoom in and see if we can see a little bit of detail around the border. Absolutely incredible. Maybe not doesn't show up fairly well on the PDF. It's quite nice to have that. And oh, we got a little bit of Ireland. The tiniest bit of Ireland. Fair enough. Cornwall. Cumbria. Ambria. I like the little house crests there. Britain in the time of Arthur. Very beautiful. Very lovely. Lots of places. Oh, and there's kingdoms. Oh, the kingdoms of France. Where would we be without rules? That's right. France. Alright, oh great, we've moved on from that interesting aesthetic, the overall layout, to 2 columns, my favourite. Excellent, excellent. So, for players and game masters. So, players and game masters alike can read this book. It presents an overview of the customs and the laws of the land, the expectations and roles of knights in society, the importance of glory and honour, how trait and passions work in the game, and the core game mechanics of combat and task resolution. Winter phase and solo scenario. My iPad's going crazy over those. Down. The improvements in the lives of women and commoners are the hallmarks of Arthur's efforts. Ladies make great gains both socially and legally over the course of his reign. Women may become knights if they wish, gain power, choose their own husbands, and whether knight or noblewoman eventually may inherit their due due estates and take care of them without a warden. Commoners amongst King Arthur's commoners are among King Arthur's earliest supporters, and he even forms Parliament to give them a place to exercise their powers alongside the clergy and lords. The Game Master decides how much resistance hinders these changes. He may of course decide on presenting a fantasy realm that is better than our modern world, with fairness, justice and goodwill everywhere. However, that attitude significantly alters the stories and what the stories mean. The best balance comes when the world is at first medieval, reactionary and reluctant to change, yet slowly yields under the influence of player knights and their allies in Arthur's court, working to create a luminous realm. Yes, well, that's a nice way of putting it, saying like, I mean, obviously there'll be a line there afterwards saying like, hey, so check this out in session 0. Do you want to play the default setting of, Arthurian legends, or do you want to change it and put it on its head a bit? Because that will change the whole stories and what we learn from it, etc. So again, just having it up. What is this? Hello, Dead Toothbrush. Hope you're doing well, my friend. This is Pendragon, the starter set by Greg Stafford. It is Arthurian Knights. We're looking at the starter set today, and it's a game I have no idea about, and we'll find out where we're going. But I hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well this wonderful Sunday. The Arthurian Britain is a feudal society where rights and authority flow from the king based on ancient custom and written law. Yeah. I like how I zoom out a little bit. Yeah, it's almost as if like, okay, we've got our lines done for the layout. Should we get rid of them? Show while working out. Customs of the realm. The system of governments, social classes, customs, and law in Arthurian society is called feudalism. The king controls the government with the aid of his household and sheriffs, who oversee the commoners, whilst clergy sees to the spiritual well-being of all. Social class ranks follows a hierarchy of king, his barons, knights, and finally peasants at the bottom. Tag yourself. Guess where I am. Customs are ancient, totally oral traditions protecting the specific rights of each social class, while the king's law works to maintain those rules and punish whoever breaks them. All good, just sorting out my audio files for a week of editing. Oh, nice, nice, nice. I suppose you fancy doing mine as well, do you? Nah, of course not, of course not. Just listen to Baldur's Gate episode on DM's Book Club was very good. I'm glad to know nothing about D&D causes to get in the way of that. I learned from you all. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much, Dead Toothbrush. Yeah, I don't know if we treated Baldur's Gate Gazetteer as well as we could have done. I was just like, it's very disappointing, isn't it? But it's good to know, isn't it? The more we learn, and when we eventually get to Baldur's Gate, it'll be the time. The Oath of Chivalry. After Arthur... Oh, what is that word? Promulgates? Promulgates. The concept of chivalry in the year 511, all chivalrous knights take the following oath as a way of announcing their ideal to the world. I, Fiona, hereby swear to protect the widow, the orphan, the poor, not to slay a vanquished and defenceless adversary, not to take part in a false judgment or treason, or to withdraw if it cannot be prevented. Never give evil counsel to a lady. Oh, to never give evil counsel to a lady. Do it. Get rid of him, Sandra. To help, if possible, a fellow being in distress. That's cool. I can imagine like starting every session that you all take the oath. I definitely would put in something about never give evil counsel to a lady, and trust my gut with any men I cross. Or something like that, just to even up a little bit. I quite like that though, that's quite silly. Well, silly, but also, yeah, I can imagine opening every session by doing the oath as knights or something, that'd be quite fun. Bureaucracy Town, exactly. The honest Sandra is going to go back to it every time. Yeah, it's because I'm telling her to. Okay, so everything belongs to the king. All rights are derived from him. He has distributed some of his rights and responsibilities amongst his lords, who, in return, may distribute some rights to rule to their knights. All obligations are personal. dependent upon the relationship between a lord and his follower. The followers swear to follow the lord and afterwards are known as vassals of that lord. The lord ensures the loyalty of his favourite followers by giving them land, i.e. a benefit, their fiefdom. The single most valuable commodity in this realm. To receive gold is a lesser honour, since gold can bribe even a peasant. Oh. But a transfer of land is sacred. I mean, that's true, isn't it? I'd rather have a house and money and no house. But I'd also like the house not to cost me money. So long as the landholder performs their obligations, then the benefits are legally theirs, and no one can justly take them away. Typically, a knight's obligations are to loyally serve in their lord's military campaigns for 40 days a year. That's not too bad, is it? And to advise their lord on important matters. Yes, Sandra's gone back to him again, my lord. Oh, what do we do? In return, the lord owes the vassal protection, sustenance, and livelihood. Thus, there is a non-equal but reciprocal agreement between lord and vassal. Only rich people say that gold means nothing. Oh dear. I don't know. Maybe I just need a house. I think that's all I've got to that point now. If the knight violates their sworn loyalty, they can lose the land, which returns to the lord. Typical reasons for land to revert to the lord are treason, failure to support the lord, or their lack of an heir when the grant holder dies. God, Sandra, you need to get on it, my dear. If the knight violates their sworn loyalty, they can lose the land, which returns to the lord. Oh, I've just said that, Fiona. What's wrong with you? The ranks of feudal vassalage, yeah, begins with those closest to the king, both in friendship and wealth. Or nepotism, huh? In Pendragon, there are British kings outside Logres, lords and office holders. In turn, these lords appoint their own vassals. Knights are the next to last class of noble vassals, with squires, knights in training, and squires as a single class beneath knights. Knights may hold their own land from a king, a great lord, a baron, or even a higher ranking knight called a banneret. Church officials and monasteries also rely upon land grants in return for support, holding their properties as vassals of the king, but in a particularly special relationship. Bishops and abbots are royal vassals with the title of baron and have their own knights to protect them, but everything except treason is outside royal authority and subject to only to their canon law. Simply holding an office in the church does not guarantee moral behaviour. It would be. I'm guessing this is like an image, right? I was going to say, is there an image for this sort of stuff? So there you go. So there's like the king at the top, presumably clergy and barons, etc. Then you got your knights. That's where you guys are, or that's where we are, even as Pendragon knights, and then everyone else at the bottom. That's what I assume from that. Lock Sandra up in the tower. This is for your own safety. Lurking here too. Oh, thank you, Dead Toothbrush. RPGs are full of nepotism. Oh, absolutely. No, I get you that. Yeah, everyone starts the game on the cusp of knighthood. Alright. Knights. Starting player knights begin as young adults who are about to realise who have just attained their lifetime goal of taking the oath of knighthood. Each knight is an immensely powerful and privileged person. In a world where most people are downtrodden, commoners whose ancestors long ago traded their freedom for safety. Knights are their protectors with a sacred duty to spend or even sacrifice their life on the behalf of others. Knights are born into privilege and commoners are born into servitude. No one questions this. Nobody questions this. Everyone obeys this. Knights live off the labour of commoners, and although entirely dependent on that labour, come no closer to it than ordering commoners around and making sure they work hard. Custom forbids knights to labour, whether in farming or in business, and they risk losing their revered status if they do. A little bit, oof, my eyes. Knights are warriors whose sole duty is to protect their lord, commoners, clergy, and noblewomen. Knights have armor, weapons, and powerful horses. Always. Where's my horse? To perform their dangerous job. They live in well-protected castles or halls. They eat well with plenty of meat and drink wine or ale. They live by conduct. They live by a code of honor. I keep saying I want to say code of conduct. That's why. A code of honor that dominates their every action and whose loss would break them from their noble status down to that of a commoner. Knights are not entirely free. They must conform to the custom and law. Most importantly, every knight is honor bound to obey their liege, a higher ranking lord who interprets the custom and law for their underlings. To disobey one's lord is to destroy a knight's honor. To speak back to a lord is dangerous, even if they have ordered a heinous crime to be committed. A knight's primary duty is to faultlessly obey their lord, even superseding the protection of the weak. Oh, dear. At the start of Arthur's reign, wicked lords and their duty-bound knights do much evil across the land. The boy king begins changing this dynamic by introducing chivalry and the idea that knights and lords must always strive to do what's good for society at large. Ah yes, the better good for the best, the greatest good for the greatest number. Yes. Ooh. So, a measure of a knight's greatness is their glory, a combination of renown, reputation, prestige, position, fame, and infamy. It reveals the magnitude of a knight's accumulated deeds. Nothing is as important if it does not contribute. Nothing is important to a knight if it does not contribute to their glory. Honor, on the other hand, is a measure of a knight's quality, their integrity, reliability, decency, and morality. Glory without honor is the measure of a bad knight. Ooh. Only knights and other combatants have glory, and only knights and lords and ladies have honor. Ah, excellent. This is a paragraph for me. Female knights have always been a part of the Pendragon game experience. It's up to each group to decide how common they are in their version of Arthur's Britain. The default assumption is that in 1 in 20 knights are women, though this varies by region and kingdom. I think we should just have all female knights. Oops, all female knights. That sounds like good for me. So knights in Pendragon can be of any gender. In Pendragon, knight is gender neutral, term for both women and men, and probably non-binary folks as well, who have undergone a ceremony of knighting to take up life at arms. If something concerning just one gender comes up in text, then you will find gender terms, male knight or female knight, as specification. The correct honorific to address a female knight is dame, which is the equivalent to the male knight's sir. Thus, Dame Briant is a knight with all the king's privileges and obligations. The rights of the female knight go beyond simple fighting. Her role encompasses all the privileges of knighthood. She is the head of her household and family, inherits the family name, arms, and armament, and the right to pass them on to her heiress or heir. If she marries a male knight, then they both have knightly rights and share responsibilities according to however they or their liege sees fit. Other gender-related issues may come up as well, depending on how the game master and players wish to construct social and gender roles in their version of Arthur's Britain. The important rule is that everyone at the table is comfortable and having fun. Fantastic, very good Chaosium. Just to be like, hey, we get it. But anyone can be a knight, anyone can be a hero, so that's all good. But I like that. That's great. Sign me up to be knight then. So, what do knights do? Following is a brief description of the primary responsibilities of knights as combatants and the day-to-day mundane lives of household knights, the default player knights. God, imagine if you were only just like, oh well, I'm looking after the household, I'm not actually going out to fight. I'm sure there are one-shots or scenarios like that using this. In one of the Pendragon books, you can play a female knight who is part of a female-only knightly order. Oh, awesome, Kev. Yeah, that's the stuff. Just I find that much more interesting and just something different. So yeah, oh, that's fine. Do you know which? What the name of the scenario is for that. Dead to Risk. I want to be Dame Daniel Dench. Triple D. So glad you could make it. Responsibilities. So every knight has 3 responsibilities. Auxilium, Consilium, and Aids. Auxilium. Is the first responsibility of a knight. To be a soldier for their lord, obeying every command. The loyal knight must wield their sword in battle and on quest, facing death without cowardice. The knight must provide troops when called for and attend any other military duties their lord asks of them. Consilium, the second responsibility, obliges the knight to offer their person in service to their lord. This may come in the form of advice given when asked for, serving as a personal guard, standing in as hostage for the lord, or providing their children as squires for training at the lord's court. Aids, the third responsibility, covers the knight's financial obligations to their lord, most notably in the form of paying the lord's ransom in the event of capture. Other aids include knighting the lord's firstborn, or helping to pay for the lord's marriage. Alright guys, Lord Stephen's getting married again. Pass round the helmet. What can we rumble up for his stag do? The obligation of obedience cannot be stressed enough. If a lord commands a knight to do anything, knight must jump to it. That is an essential part of the feudal bond. Knights pledged to an evil lord do evil things, but ironically do so because they are good, loyal, obedient knights. If their lord dies, they are obviously freed from their oaths and may feel some measure of relief. If they do not, they are as wicked as their lord. As King Arthur's benevolence spreads over the kingdom, a knight's responsibility extends to include protecting all marital women, the weak and powerless, including commoners in brackets, and the church. These new responsibilities remain a personal choice, not a hard and fast requirement. The daily schedule in a castle or manor hall follows the cycles of nature. Everyone rises about dawn, washes, dresses, and, if they are spiritually oriented, prays. Breakfast follows at mid-morning. First, everyone clears the great hall of blankets and other personal goods. Servants place boards where knights slept on last night upon the trestles to make tables, forming long rows of whose front ends are perpendicular to a raised dais at the front of the hall, where the lord sits. Benches are brought from the sides of the hall to set up on either side of the tables. Seating order is fixed, with the most honoured closest to the front by the high table. That makes so much more sense now that I think about it. Of course they'd do that. The officers of the castle enter from their private quarters and take their places at the high table. The last to enter is the lord. If the lord is married, then their spouse may sit beside them. For a noblewoman, her female staff is present amongst the other servants. Squires or staff from the kitchen are normally tasked to serve knights. During the meal, people both enjoy congenial conversation and discuss plans for the day. God, more small talk. Especially on those long benches, you can't get away easily, can you? And also, you've got this set seating order as well. You're like, oh God, I'm next to Gary again. Hello, Gary. How are the pigs? You know. The morning business takes place as the lord and officers tell the knights their duties for the day. A knight's daily duty includes one or more of the following: guarding their riding the patrol, standing sentinel, weapons practice, battle maneuver practice, hunting from horseback, caring for their horses, escorting someone, that's a weird text thing there, like someone, to a distant site, instructing and training their squire, and anything else the liege asks of the knight. The knight has little time to spare but can squeeze in moments of conversation, gossip, and news from visitors at court between tasks, and when doing something that does not require their entire attention. Around midday, a light meal is provided. is available, followed by a break in which off-duty knights may sleep, play games, or engage in other private activities. Wink. Then the afternoon business occurs just like the morning. Dinner takes place late in the afternoon. Oh gosh, how late though? Is it like 5 or is it like 8? Servants again set up the tables, bring out the food, placing it at the end of the table. Nightly fare includes meat at each meal, a hollowed out loaf of crusty bread as a bowl, or a plate of stale bread, cheese, and perhaps, if you're lucky, some vegetables. Meat roasting follows recipes that create a tasty meal from local fare. Fruit and dainties comprise a dessert for an evening meal. Ale is the usual drink, whilst liege and favoured advisors get wine. Ooh, lucky. Entertainment follows with torches or rushlights providing lighting after sunset. In private quarters, candles may replace torches, but they are unsuitable for general lighting. God, yeah, if you've ever had a candle whilst trying to read your book by it, does your eyes in, honestly. Knights keep straw-filled mattresses and blankets rolled up by their personal chests of possessions that line around the room's edges. Another day has ended. Ah. Brutal. Oh, and that's chapter 1. Nice. Going straight onto the game system, which is good. Let's go then. Game system. Start off with really. Ugh. So it uses a single mechanic for all task resolutions. Oh, okay. Tick. Oh, and then another mechanic to determine damage given and taken. Fair enough. Before discussing the rules of the game, it is necessary to discuss the core concepts and terminology. Right? Always love a good terminology section. I will say, I'm guessing that you're just called the game master in this game. You're not called, like, I don't know, the king or the queen. I'm a big fan of, like, naming people things. So, like, obviously we've got player knights, that's cool, or Pendragons. Maybe you called the Pendragon. That'd be cool. Maybe just called Arthur. So we use 2 types of dice, the common 6-sided ones and the well-known D20-sided ones. The D6 determine damage and generate certain randomized outcomes. A 20-sided die determines success or failure for all statistics tests. Okay. Both can provide results on random tables. Ideally, you should roll all necessary dice at the same time when indicated. Oh, so we've got some standard terms and notations. We're going to go through it, but obviously, yeah, D represents dice and the number next to it. So we've got 5d6, so 6 is the size of die, and 5 indicates how many you have to roll. So 5 6-sided dice. And yeah, do with d3s, you just roll a d6, and then you don't halve it per se. Well, makes sense. So 1 2 counts as 1, 3 4 counts as 2, and 5 6 counts as 3. And then having plus some sort of modifier is just to add something to the roll for damage. Excuse me. So, statistics quantify the qualities of your character. Traits, passions, characteristics, skills, glory, armor, parry, and shield protection are all statistics, and each of them has a numerical value. And these always range between 1 and 20. Okie dokie. Any number that quantifies a statistic is its value. For example, a knight's courtesy skill has a value of 6. The sum of values for a trait is always 20. Okay. What's a skill? Traits are different to skills, right? Yeah. The value might go up or down over time, or receive a modifier for a single roll. Values are recorded next to each statistic. So here we've got valorous, yeah, valorous 16, sword 15, etc. If I go to one of the character sheets, it'll tell. So I'm guessing here. I zoom in on Sir Varian. There you go. So awareness here has 5. No idea how you pronounce that word. How do you pronounce that word? Chiguri? We'll never use that skill. We've got falconry there is 10. God, Sir Claren's really good at carpentry. Terrible at fashion though. No fashion sense whatsoever. Flirting is a pure average 5, assuming you go up to 10. They're useful to determine the outcome of a pose or unopposed roll. They're always rounded to the nearest number. Fair enough. Important to understand the difference of a roll and a check, for they have distinctive meanings in this game. So to roll means to roll the designated dice or dice to generate a random number. check means to place an experience check mark in the box next to the indicated statistic on the character sheet. It serves as a reminder for a test to improve during the winter phase. Right, so a little bit like Call of Cthulhu then. So here's the check mark here for these ones. And I guess, let me move over. Same on this one as well. Oh, there's traits. See, I did. Oh, chase, lustful, forgiving, vengeful. Oh, this is what I was talking about before. About in traits, they add up to 20. See that? So you got, I guess, because they're opposites, right? So chase and lustful. This person's a bit. Seclarian's a bit more chaseful than lustful. I mean, that makes sense. He's a pure 5. Let's see what modest versus proud. That's all right. Not cowardly at all, though. Look at that cowardly 4. Like surgery. Oh, surgery. Right. Ah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Surgery. I assume. I'll be max fashion. Of course, dead true for us. I would not expect anything else. As long as the fashion was in black, right? You always roll against the statistic. You might succeed. If you succeed, you might check it to replace a check mark on your street. Okay. So, for example, Game Master say roll your chase straight, and if you succeed, check it. Ah, I see. So you have to roll against 13 and succeed. Well, we'll find out what it will say as determining success in a second. Yes, you know me. Of course I know you. Of course I know you. Don't change. In Pendragon, it's always preferable to roll as high as possible without exceeding your target value. Oh, a concept similar to blackjack. Oh, okay. Right, so you want to get as high, maybe get as high as possible, but not 14 or over. Ooh. The single method is used to determine the success or failure of any action in the game, whether a knight is riding a horse, fighting an enemy, seducing a lover, attempting a feat of strength, or testing their own virtues. Most things a character does are automatically successful. Maybe. A player simply tells the game master what their character is doing, such as, my knight walks up the aisle towards the throne. I did think it was going to end up like, my knight walks up the aisle towards the meal deal section. Or, I ride out of the castle to my manor. Likewise, Game Master characters may execute any number of actions without needing to roll. However, sometimes a character attempts actions that require skill, discipline, or talent, or is acted upon by an outside force, which therefore might not succeed. During such critical times, the game master or players might make dice rolls for their characters to determine success or failure. Rolls are also required whenever a character attempts to do something under stress or otherwise acts without deliberate forethought. But that's me all the time, though. Alright, so we got unopposed resolution rolls happen when a character must test their own abilities but is not contesting these abilities against anyone else. Okay, so like a normal sort of roll then. So I guess they're called just... It makes sense they're called unopposed resolution rolls. So, the player or game master rolls directly against the character's pertinent statistic value using a single 20-sided dice. So, oh, we've got Seclaren here. That's a Seclaren. So, in this example, tries hard to identify the source of some rustling in the trees above. This calls for using his awareness skill. Alright, so his awareness is only 5. The Clarion's player must make an unopposed awareness roll and gets a 12, which is higher than his awareness value of 5, so he fails. Oh gosh. Without warning, since the Clarion failed to hear him, a bandit on a vine swings down from a tree and attempts to knock the knight off his horse. Right. Ooh, I do like that. Ooh. That could be quite difficult then. Yeah, like, there's no... Like, you'd fail at every fashion test, right? Success. Success rolls when the die roll is less than the value of the statistic being tested. In general, whenever the game master asks for a roll, the result is a success that has a greater significance for the character or adventure than the game master may grant an experience check to the statistic being tested. A player simply saying that they're going to make the roll does not automatically warrant a check for success. Right, so you need to have some sort of justification for it, or have, yeah, some sort of impact. Oh, critical success or critical is when the die roll matches exactly the statistic value. I like that a lot because this will be different depending on each character. That makes it really special. Oh, I like that. So yeah, for example, a roll of 17 for a character with charge 17 is a critical success. The characters achieve the ultimate success with a critical and usually get some added benefits beyond a success. Well, yeah, tag yourself in this photo. I think I'll be odd bird, the unmentionable bird we never talk about. Here we go. Unopposed rolls generate one of 4 outcomes. We've got critical success, just general success, failure, or fumble. But always compare the roll against the final modified value of a statistic. A skill with a value of 6, for example, receives a +5 modifier. For the final value of 11, a die roll of 11 now scores a critical, whilst a 6, normally a critical, counts as a success. Oh, I see. Right. I guess that's right. I guess the modifier is something that the GM gives, probably. It was final modified. Oh, I think I get you. I get you now. Got a modifier. It will score on a critical. Yeah. So it has to be if it's modified in some way, it has to be the end modified result rather than just the 6. I understand. Failure. So a failure occurs when a die roll is greater than the value of a statistic being tested. This is intended as an action does not succeed, the trait or passion is not activated. A fumble occurs whenever a character rolls a natural 20 unless the statistic value is 20. In some cases, a 20 can become a critical success. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, a statistic roll of 20 has no chance of becoming a fumble. A fumble is a disastrous stroke of bad luck resulting in such things as dropping or breaking a weapon during combat, coughing or cursing in the midst of a romantic ballad. The Game Master relates a specific effect of a fumbled roll based on the guidelines provided in the following chapters. A fumble is not an excuse for the Game Master to inflict incessant grief on their players. The Game Master who insists on every fumble means a major disaster soon spoils the game for everyone. So, yeah, so fumble is a natural 20, I see. Alright, so that's the unopposed resolution roll. So then we've got opposed ones. They're in the same manner, but the player must compare their rolls to the outcome of another roll, either against a fixed value or an opponent's statistic. To win, the player must succeed with their own roll, yet roll a higher number than that of the opposing player. Ooh, a common example is melee combat. The opposed resolution may result in either a winner or loser, a tie, a winner and a partial success, or 2 losers. From the earlier example, Sir Claren sees another bandit charging on horseback and draws a sword. A fight ensues. The robber has a sword of 12 and Sir Claren has a sword of 15. In the first round, the robber rolls a 13 and fails, but Sir Claren rolls a 1. Oh, that's a critical. Oh, well, it'll be really good, won't it? It's a success because it's not a 15. Sir Claren is the winner and inflicts damage on the robber. In the next round, Sir Claren rolls a 12 and the robber rolls an 11. Yes, they both hit that time, I'm guessing. So yeah, they both succeed, but Sir Claren wins because since his roll is higher. Ooh, only just though. Although the loser in this round, the robber is a partial success and his shield grants him some protection. Okay. Winner. If you roll equal to or less than your statistic value and higher than your roll of your opponent, then you are the winner of the opposed resolution. The critical success beats any other outcome in an opposed resolution and guarantees a win, or at least a tie. This is true even if the character with a statistic of 1 rolls a 1, because all critical successes are equal and greater than a success. Yes, that makes total sense. Loser. If you roll greater than your statistic value, you are the loser of the opposed resolution. Both parties involved may lose, i.e. mutual failure. A partial success is when a roll is successful, i.e. less than a statistic value but lower than the opponent's roll. The characters usually gain some minor benefit from a partial success. And then finally, a tie. So a tie occurs when both opponents fail or succeed and roll the exact same number. Values of a critical success are never counted. All criticals are equal, and therefore, if both sides are critical, it is a tie. Ooh, okay. If both rolls are successful, critical or otherwise, it is then impossible to determine the winner. If both fail or fumble, each suffers negative consequences. In any case, the opponents may roll again next round and choose other action. A tied result is also a success in combat, indicates that both combatants strike with some special applications and exceptions. The combat chapter. Okay, so far so good, fairly straightforward, I think. Then we have modifiers. Woohoo! Modifiers are temporary bonuses to penalties to statistic values. A bonus adjusts the value up whilst a penalty brings the value down. Modifiers are given to players or requested by them depending on the situation. The game master may grant or deny bonuses or penalties at their discretion. They're always added to or subtracted from statistic values, so from these values here. The only time the resolution roll is modified is when a critical bonus applies. See, it's on the next page. Okay, anytime you see a temporary bonus or penalty, remember it always applies to the statistic and not the dice roll. Yes, because that's normally is the thing, isn't it? You add it to the dice roll. But here it's just adding it to that, what I would call the target number. Trait and passion modifiers. Traits and passions may be modified when the current situation affects the character's normal behaviour or emotional state. Gosh, it's almost been an hour already. Gosh. For example, a character who has not eaten in days may get a -10 modifier to temperate when presented with a tempting morsel from a strange witch in the woods. Oh, don't do that. Note that all traits are reflective in the preceding example, so a +10 indulgent modifier would be balanced the -10 temperate modifier. Sometimes a characteristic value may get a modifier. Usually this comes in the form of a penalty due to some external restriction interfering with the character. Damage modifiers. So modifier to damage characteristics alter the number of points of damage done to a character by adding dice to or subtracting dice from the number rolled. Many individual weapons give special damage modifiers due to their size or their opponent's type of protection. We'll see it again later in arms and armour. Modifiers may adjust a character's skill to reflect a particular situation. Skill modifiers make actions harder or easier. Most combat modifiers are skill modifiers based on weapon types, positions of combatants, etc. They affect a character's skill value. So, the Clarion is wary and again attempts to spot an ambush using his awareness skill of 5. This time the player states that the Clarion is carefully scanning each tree near the trail for robbers before passing underneath. Permits him to have a +5 on to his awareness value because the treetops are indeed the favourite ambush spot of the local group of bandits. The Clarion's awareness has become 10 for this role. The games master tells the player that the Clarion is going to have to travel slower to be cautious. A few moments later, the game master, instead of the player, since this is an inquiry, rolls for the Clarion and gets... Wait. I wouldn't roll for the Clarion. Why are the game master doing that? And gets a 10, which is a critical success given the modifier. The Clarion spots 2 bandits lurking in the trees about 100 yards ahead and quietly leaves a trail, bypassing them before they see him. The game master decides to grant a check to the knight's awareness skill. So yeah, so it would go, yeah. But why are you doing? Why is the GM doing that? I don't know about that. Reflective modifiers. So this affects both values in an opposed resolution, giving a bonus to one and a penalty to another. So for example, a mounted knight gains a +5 when attacking foes on foot. The opponent in turn gets a -5 for fighting versus a mounted character. This is a reflective modifier as a +5 -5. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Good to have that. They may be added together, sometimes cancelling each other out. Right. So, but values greater than 20. So, with the exception of characteristics, no statistic value may ever exceed 20. However, in situational modifiers, improvements during the winter phase may effectively reach may raise the effective value of a statistic to greater than 20. Any points in excess of 20 become the critical bonus. This is shown as X. A modified roll equaling or exceeding the 20 counts as a critical. So, for example, a knight with a sword 20 in brackets +4 has a +4 critical bonus. If the player rolls a 16, the final result is modified as a 16 + 4 = 20, a critical. Thus, critical bonuses increase the probability of rolling a critical, since in the above case, the knight would score a critical for any roll that for that skill is greater than or equal to 16. Critical bonus also increases the odds of winning any of given opposed rolls, even if the roll is not a critical success, since it is always better to roll higher than your opponent. Let my phone go off. Remember, all criticals are equal. Although the modified value of a die roll may be greater than 20, the result is simply a critical success. For example, if a player knight's modified roll is 21 and his opponent has a modified roll of 30, both count as criticals, and opposed criticals are always a tie. That's good to know, actually. It just makes it simpler. That do we? Statistic modifiers or inspiration from passions may create temporary critical bonuses. If a modifier raises the value above 20, convert the difference from 20 to a critical bonus. So if, for example, a sword skill is normally an 18, and you receive +5 height advantage, adding 5 to 18 is 23. The difference between 23 and 20 is therefore +3 for the sword, as long as the height advantage applies. I understand. And on the opposite side, we've got values less than 1. A statistic value may temporarily reduce to 0 or less. Pendragon doesn't use negative values, so even if a modifier would reduce a value to a negative number. Instead, it is simply counted as 0. A roll of 20, as usual, a roll of 20 would count as a fumble. In such circumstances, the character must still roll. Failure is automatic. However, the range of the die rolls indicate a fumble increases by 1 point for every point below 0. So, for example, if a character with a dancing skill of 3 receives a -5 modifier, doesn't say why, presumably because they've got 2 left feet. Although mathematically the total value would be -2, their effective skill is still counted as 0, but the fumble range is now increased by 2 points, between 18 to 20. I understand. Oh, okay. Alright, that's not too bad. Okay. So, then we've got experience. One of the most exciting aspects of role-playing games is watching characters grow and develop over time. In Pendragon, player knights become more powerful and adept through experience checks gained through adventures and through training during wins. Every trait, passion, skill has a checkbox next to it. Player checks off the box at the game master's discretion or whenever the player rolls a critical success. The check reminds the player to make an experience roll during the winter phase to determine if the characters have learnt anything. We're going to see this soon, like next bit, I guess, in a bit. So the experience checks are not automatic whenever a roll is successful. The ability to award or deny an experience check is one of the key powers of the Game Master. However, you normally gain it when they roll a critical success. They achieve success under significant circumstances. They roll a fumble. Learning from our greatest mistakes is a human characteristic. Game Master may also grant checks in response to player actions. Not all checks are the result of die rolls. For example, Sir Alvarlock is in love with Lady Dunn. Lady Dunn. and announces that he will compose a love song in her honour. Sir Alverlock's character writes a clever song and actually sings it to the group. The game master decides that Sir Alverlock succeeds and states that the player may check the compose skill. Note that no roll was necessary here, only the player creativity and the game master improve. The game master may sometimes tell the players to check one of their character's traits or passions without having made a roll. This means that the character has displayed significant behaviour in accordance with a trait or a passion. So we've got traits. Traits are over here. Oh, passions are here. Ah, oh, I see now, and these are like got a little bit of detail to them as well. Devotion brackets God. Cool. It's not necessary that others have seen his behaviour. Nice. Okay. 5 characters quantify every character's physical qualities. Several derived characteristics are calculated from various combinations of the 5 statistics. Size. Wait, so what is the 5 characteristics? Oh, here? 4. Oh, I'm guessing here. These are the characteristics of size, dex, strength, con, so I'm gonna say. Normally what it is, isn't it? Size is the character's relative height and weight compared to others. Also the threshold value for a derived characteristic known as knockdown, which will be later. Dexterity, a character's agility and nimbleness. Strength measures a character's physical power and their ability to exert force or pressure on an object. This feels a little bit like Call of Cthulhu, doesn't it? Just a way of like, similar. Determines the derived characteristics of weapon damage and brawling damage. That's strength plus size is similar, I think, as well as movement rate. Constitution measures health and vitality, important in determining how much of a beating you can take and how quickly you can recover. Major wound is equal to your con value. Your total hit points are equal to your con versus size. Oh, plus size, sorry. Your unconscious value is equal to your total hit points divided by 4. And lastly, your healing rate is equal to your con value divided by 5. Oh, appeal, not appearance, sorry. But it measures the character's natural charm, presence, and physical attractiveness. As such, it provokes deep responses in people, automatic and outside their conscious awareness. Game masters may roll it as a general method for gauging a character's impression on others. Oh great, we've got them here, they're the derived characteristics. We've got knockdown, major wound, weapon damage, brawling damage, healing rate, movement rate, total hit points, and unconscious. The conscious characteristic. Okay. Characteristics have many uses in the game. Actually, where are they? Where's the characteristics? I mean, it's just here, right? These determine all these things. I've got a horse there, I didn't realise. Oh, excuse me. Characteristics have many uses in the game Pendragon. More often, these are subtle or not immediately obvious. However, from time to time, characters may need to test their raw abilities. For this purpose, they roll against the appropriate characteristic. In general, characteristic rolls are simple resolution with no additional effects from deriving from criticals or fumbles. Characteristic rolls sometimes include a modifier, but often due to environmental effects. The glory roll. Okay, so this is a roll I made against the glory divided by 1,000, rounding up to the nearest decimal. So if you have, if you have like nearly 3,755 glory, you got to must roll 4 or less to succeed. What's that for? What's it for though? It's possible to have 2 knights to make opposed glory rolls to resolve a minor social impasse. Yeah, but what's it for? Right, movement. They are abstract for purposes of quick resolution and simplicity. Fine. movement rate. We don't. Pendragon allows players to control and command minor characters in their entourage. Rich knights may command entire households of background characters and supporters, but all save the poorest knights have one follower in common, their trusty squire. Part of a knight's duty is to train young nobles in skills at arms, courtesy, and other domains of knowledge necessary to bear the title of knight. Squires graduate from the rank of page around the age of 14 and enter into a knight's service. The squire skill. So the player knights may call upon their own squire to make a squire roll for normal server type activities such as making camp, tending to horses, cleaning armor, etc., and for combat related duties. In combat, for instance, a squire roll can be used for the call squire action. That's what this is. Wild. If the game master decides that the squire needs a specific skill value, most commonly for skills are awareness, battle, charge, courtesy, first aid, horsemanship, hunting, recognize, recognize, that's a great one, sword, and weapon skills, sorry. The default equals, the default equals the squire's current age minus 11. What have you got? Really old squires. Oh, that's chapter 2. Excellent. Being on time. Right, we've done over an hour and 10. We'll keep going. I think I might have to call it in the next hour. So. Alright, chapter 3 is traits and passions. The system of traits and passions help answer one of the game's central questions. What kind of knight are you? The King Arthur's epic is a story of personality and action on a grand scale. Everyone whose name is remembered is known for both their deed and emotion. No great character is merely a two-dimensional cutout whose history consists of solely high school and a list of events. I don't know. Feels like that's my CV. I have to do that. As well as be like, yes, I definitely do want to work here. Everyone feels strongly about something. Traits and passions are the statistic that depicts personality in Pendragon. Together, these two sets of characteristics provide guidelines for playing knights who might be quite different from the player, and also sharply distinguish characters from each other through their behavior. Traits and passions may quantify, inform, or dictate the character behavior. They may also make the player's role-playing task easier by providing guidelines for how the player knight has acted, and is likely to continue to act. Each has a numerical value, and the player rolls against these values to determine their behavior. So, traits represent a character's personality. They define a character's feeling and govern behavior. A character may claim to believe in whatever they wish, but the claims do not affect behavior. For example, anyone can say that I am the bravest knight alive, but if they run away from a confrontation, they may reveal their true quality, their cowardly trait. It's all these ones here, so I assume everyone has the same ones. If I put down to the next person. The Eva. Yep, same thing here. Oh, and it just tells me there, doesn't it? All characters have 13 opposed traits pairs. The sum of each pair must always equal 20. When one trait increases, the opposite decreases by the same amount in an endless tug of war between virtue and vice, as defined by the people of Arthur's Britain. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. It's quite interesting. Right, trait levels. These are organised into 4 levels that are unsung, normal, famous, and exalted. The unsung is a value of 0 to 4. The character is never known for such a trait and it does not define their personality. Normal trait is between 5 and 15. Whichever trait is in this pair has the largest value is the dominant behaviour. And the one that's smaller is subordinate. If both values are 10, then neither is dominant or subordinate. A famous trait has a value of 16 to 20. They're well known for such a trait, at least within their home country. When a behaviour is called for, the famous trait was always triggered first. Exalted trait is a value of 20 plus critical bonus, so for instance 20 plus 2. It is opposite to 0. Such trait can completely define a character's personality. Characters are known for it wherever they go. Oh, wherever for it. Everywhere. Wherever. Everywhere. And a character with an exalted trait never acts otherwise. Oh, okay. A trait rolls. During a scenario, events may occur that cause the character to act in one way or another, or the game master may ask for or mandate a roll against an appropriate trait. Most of the time, the player simply says what they want their character to do, and they do it, possibly receiving an experience check from the game master. Sometimes, though, ingrained behavior takes precedence over conscious intent. We have all experienced doing something without thinking, and the trait roll duplicates that behavior. Oh, nice. The trait roll's results may apply modifiers to reflect the demands or pressures on the situation. If the character has normal traits, they may roll them in any order they wish. On the contrary, those must always roll famous or exalted traits first. An unmodified exalted trait never fails. Right. Oh, I understand. Because like these values here. Yeah, it makes sense that if one of them is really big compared to the other, then obviously you would have to roll for those first. Oh, it says it here as well. So critical, you act strongly in accordance with the trait and take an experience check. The game master may add a +5 modifier to a subsequent relevant skill or passion roll. Success, you just act within accordance with the trait. Only award an experience check if it's somehow significant to the story. Failure, player rolls again, but this time for the opposing trait, adjusted by any modifiers. If this roll is always a failure, the character can act however the player will. Ooh. What a great image. I say that's quite a small page. I realise that's the bottom of the page. Right. In a fumble, the character acts strongly in accordance with the opposing trait and gains a check to the latter. Game master may grant a +5 modifier to a subsequent relevant skill or passion roll. Now we've got to remember that these modifiers always affect the value, not the dice roll. So these trait rolls come into play in 3 basic ways: decision rolls, test rolls, and game hint rolls. Trait rolls are always used to make decisions to test one's character, provide hints, influence other characters, or resolve moral conflicts. Alright, let's have a look at these trait rolls. Most trait rolls help in deciding a character's behaviour. Normal offers the most freedom of action. The game master may request a normal trait roll to determine a player knight's behaviour. If the player chooses which side of the trait to pair to test first, they will do, yeah, and they will behave according to the result. Player knights always follow their famous trait without needing to roll. However, if a player wishes for the knight to act contrary to their famous trait, or the game master feels that the player is doing so, they must attempt a trait roll of the famous trait first. Only upon failure may they test the opposing unsung trait, giving the player knight a chance to act freely. Exalted traits offer no choice, because the value of the opposing trait is 0. They always act in accordance with their exalted traits. Right, okay. That's basically a decision. Yeah, so that's like the most often way to act, I guess, or like deciding one. And then we've got test rolls. Arthurian legend is full of wondrous trials that challenge knights and ladies, testing their virtues. Some circumstances, often relating to supernatural forces, require trait rolls because they are special tests of a moral or spiritual nature. In this case, the character must take an opposed roll against a particular trait. Success ensures the moral and spiritual reward. Failure is the consequences of not gaining it. Some tests are more straightforward than others, such as an indulge roll to see if a character becomes drunk at a feast. Often, as in the case of intoxication, the consequence of failure are spelled out in the rules or scenario. Absolutely. Sorry. Ooh, QVAM, hey, do you have a Discord server where gamers can join to play RPGs? I don't have one specifically for that, QVAM, but we do have one just as a general one for the podcast and stuff, if that tickles your fancy. But we're not one for specific making games and stuff. But come check that out there. We talk a lot about RPGs and stuff, so maybe there'll be a couple of people in there that might want to do games and stuff, but nothing specific for that. Hopefully that helps you. But thanks for joining by. It should come up on there you go, it's up on YouTube now. Game hint rolls, this is the final one. The game master may prompt players by having them make trait rolls. For example, they might say, if you think something is fishy here, you may attempt a suspicious roll. In such circumstances, a success on the trait roll calls for an experience check. Players should then roleplay their character appropriately. Critical success means the knight should act strongly in accordance with that trait. Okay. An opposed trait roll is always made in case of failure. An opposing trait roll. In the example above, if the suspicion roll fails, then the trusting roll is attempted. Both fail, they may play. The player may choose how to act. The player may choose how they wish to act. A bit wordy, isn't it? Okay, I think I get it. These are just I do like the trait rolls. They sound. Yeah, it's like here are 13 different attitudes you could take that have an opposing reactions to stuff. I quite like that. It feels very much like it narrows it down, like how do I feel when you can just look at these things and go, I feel like merciful rather than cruel in this moment. But they're equal. So you could choose which one to roll first and go with it. So thanks. No problem. Hope that helps. And we've got traits defined. When looking at the following definitions, keep in mind that a trait pair covers a spectrum of actions and feelings between them. Right, yes. Sometimes defining actions with traits is misleading for characters with normal values. A character with a merciful cruel of 8-12, so that's merciful with 8 and 12 of cruel, is not truly cruel, even though the latter is their dominant trait. No, but it's a sliding scale, isn't it? It's like they could be cruel a little bit, etc. But if they get to that famous one, if it became cruel 15 plus, of 15, 16? I think it's 16 to 20, right? Yeah, 16 to 20, then they would have to act in accordance of that trait. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, that's a cruel person. Oh, and it talks about the pairings now. Okay, great. So we've got chaste, lustful, measures a range of attitudes concerning carnal pleasures and romantic fidelity. Does not, that's quite good, does not denote an action but a feeling. That's quite important. But energetic versus lazy, we've got forgiving versus vengeful. Generous versus selfish, honest versus deceitful, just versus arbitrary, merciful versus cruel, modest versus proud, prudent versus reckless, spiritual versus worldly. And here it says worldly should not be conflated with indulgent. The two often go together. Is it? But aren't the same. Oh, I guess, maybe. Temperate versus indulgent, trusting versus suspicious, valorous versus cowardly. All knights must be valorous. Still a bit cowardly. Okay. What about oh no, don't zoom in. Really not what I wanted. Yeah, so Clarion's a little bit more valorous. And then we've got religious virtues. They practice many different faiths across Arthurian Britain, and each faith holds a distinct set of values central to its beliefs and teaching. We've got Christian, pagan, Wodinic. Cool, I like that. I mean, obviously, you can make it expand it. It could be. I can almost imagine doing what's it called? Was it the Green Knight that came out last year? Sort of folklore horror that was about knights in the Middle East, I think. Yeah, that'd be fun to look into as well. Passions. The Arthurian tales are full of intense emotion, much of it uncontrolled. Beautiful women drive men to incredible and outrageous acts to prove their love. Oh, also men to women. Family feuds turn otherwise sane folk into wild avengers. An idealistic young king vies to spread his vision of a better world against all the odds. Passions grant temporary modifiers to skills and traits, but never to characteristics or other passions. So here we've got passion levels. They exist on a spectrum from low to high. We've got the same thing here again, I'm guessing. Like traits, they have 4 levels. Passions are on this side. Where are they? So we've got basal skills, combat skills. Passions are here underneath. Underneath the traits. Invoking the passion is an excellent way to add an excitement to a scenario, for it can result in a superhuman actions. A successful passion roll inspires or impassions the player knight to giving them a big temporary bonus to one of their skills or traits. However, these can also be risky. A failure or a fumble may subject a knight to several... Sorry, just to break up there. I think I've seen this woodcut. I think this is in Embankment. No, not Embankment. Charing Cross. I think it's in Charing Cross. Tube station. Yes, it is Charing Cross. Unpleasant states of mind, including melancholy, and madness. The character may roll to provoke any given passions once per day. Gamemaster can call for it any time. You may voluntarily invoke these passions only under these circumstances. So encounters the subject of their passion. What is going on? Sorry, my phone keeps going off. I'm like, what's going on? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The player may choose to attempt if their passion level is normal. If it's famous or exalted, they must attempt the roll, and if they are successful, act on it in accordance with the situation and the passion in question. A player may also request a passion roll in a crisis, and then make a request when they're trying to impress, defend, destroy a subject of their passion. Passions may also be used to decide a course of an action is consistent with the player knight's defined temperament or to resolve an inner conflict. See the following sections for more details. These type of rolls do not count against the once per day limitation. Okay. They often prove to be the source of great and lingering heartache for characters, triggering crises of belief or commitment. Most passion rolls are unopposed. Roll for passions and consult the table. So here we go, we've got an example of like what would happen here. Such a small table, but I'm glad that they do have that table of contents for tables here at the front. Passion crisis, oh no. Oh, lose a point from the passion, oh gosh. Oh, that's no good. Are they different for each person, or are they... Okay, thank you. Are they the same? So this is a Clarion. Claren, sorry, it's a Claren. Evren. Evren. Yeah, they're roughly the same, I think. What about Dame Vanelli? Yeah, that's the same. 8, the pigs. What else do they... Oh no, there's adoration. Ah, it doesn't have a hate one. Interesting. I'm guessing we can then decide. I'm just checking. Okay. So what? Wait, where are these rules? Oh, so this is where you get from the results of the table. So we're getting impassioned, inspired, passion crisis, or lose a point from it. So we critically succeed. Get impassioned. Temporary +10 to a single skill or trait chosen by the player. The duration varies but lasts until the situation that is invoked by the passion roll ends. Inspired is just a temporary +5 to a single roll, same as above. Passion crisis, see below. Lose 1 point from the passion. Automatically loses 1 point as they question their beliefs. May choose to trigger a passion crisis as well if the circumstances call for it. So, passion crisis may occur when a character is inspired or impassioned and fails spectacularly at the task in hand. When it becomes clear that the source of the passion is no more, or the character will never have access to the source again. Oh, right, okay. Regardless of it, the character may suffer a passion crisis, must make an unopposed roll against a passion that triggered the crisis, applying all the modifiers given below to check if the character suffers an affliction. Oh wow, critical success. The character goes mad and is out of the game. What? Success, the character becomes melancholic. And then failure and fumble. You don't want to succeed on those ones. You want to fail them. So it's like almost like the opposite of the sanity roll. No, it's like the same as the sanity roll for the Call of Cthulhu then. Gosh. And then these are the modifiers. So. Oh. Okay. Ah, so these would modify that skill roll, sorry, the passion value, and not the skill roll as well. Oh gosh. This feels a little bit a lot, right? Like I like the idea of the rolling against it, but already I'm like, oh gosh, there's so much here. So I don't know if I would use this passion crisis thing possibly. Like I'm just like, it's more of a roleplay thing, I would say, but I don't know. So for the following sections details some passions in detail. The role is greater in the world of Pendragon and the effects on those who hold them. Fidelita. Passions of Fidelitas. Personal loyalty. So you've got the homage of home. The act of giving when a knight swears a service to a lord as a member of the household, right? Loyalty king. Oh wait, is that homage home loyalty? Loyalty as companions, develop bonds of loyalty and affection for each other. Loyalty to the king. Oh, I understand now. I'm an idiot. Sorry, I am an absolute idiot. These are the types of ones I see. So this is like under small subheadings. So we've got homage to a lord, and then if I'd actually fealty to a lord. Wait, homage to a lord and fealty to a lord. What's the difference? The highest type of loyalty, and a fealty is just a loyalty oath. Okay. Oh, fealty is inferior to homage and is ignored if the two conflict. Okie dokie. And then we've got loyalty companions, loyalty to king, and then passions of fervour. Love and hate are opposites, but here they are an expression of fervour and intense abiding feelings. So we've got hate a particular person or group. It's a bit of poison, so that's why that lady Linnell had the hate of the Picts, for example. Love of family, love of person. Passions of adoratio. Show worship or reverence for a person or deity. Abiding belief that transcends all worldly motivations. So beloved. Devotion to a deity. Okay. Passions of civilitas. Chivalry. Oh, hospitality. I want to see what this one says up here. Commoners scowl and growl at each other when angry and wail and blubber when they are sad. Knights love their brothers and sisters in arms, laugh raucously together, and weep when a good one dies. King Arthur falls from his throne onto the floor, shaking with laughter when some foppery, a great word, foppery, occurs at court. He rages when a foreign king insults him or his kingdom. He weeps when his knights go off on the quest for the Holy Grail, afraid that he will never see such noble warriors together again. Overt displays of passions are normal. People are unashamed of showing their feelings. I like that. It's like, yes, it makes sense. There'd be what we might consider as dramatic, perhaps. There's a station there. Ooh. Yeah, actually, just a lovely picture of this lady. She just is the full picture, so that's fine. We have afflictions. Afflictions are conditions brought on by successful passion crises. They can all be cured. And the three we have are madness, melancholy, And what was the other one? Misery. I don't want to dwell on them too much. I'm also not a fan of having madness as a condition, and then you're out of the game. A knight typically throws off their weapons, tears off their armor, perhaps their clothing, and then dashes into the wilderness, avoiding all human contact if possible. Like, I don't necessarily think that's mad. I think that's a good choice, to be honest with you right now. Must turn over the character sheet to the game master, who will return it at a future time. Gosh. A character who suffers madness gains 100 glory if it lasts for a year or more. Otherwise, they just gain 25 glory. You shouldn't weaponize that sort of stuff. During madness, the game master may decide that a character is brought back at any time. They need only to return the character sheet, informing them that the character has awakened from their madness and names the place that they regain their faculty. The game master may change the characteristic in any way they see fit to reflect what went on during the madness. Oh, I don't like that either. I think you need to have a conversation with the player about it, not just like, I'll just do this. A perfect time for this is method when the player's current active character is killed, put out of service, or goes mad themselves. A former mad character may then re-enter play. Melancholy is a depressed emotional state. They suffer -5 to all skill and passion rolls. Oof, that's quite hard. But you do get 25 glory. Doesn't strike immediately if the character is actively engaged in a deadly activity. It takes place after it is completed. After the activity that caused it is completed. Its length can vary. Value indicates the number of days of melancholy versus and the fixed opposition against a cure. Right, I can hear very loud noises from next door. Curing melancholy. There's one or two ways. It's the friendly cure. A friendly intervention required by anyone who is a victim has a love, loyalty, or adoration passion, or someone who holds those passions for the character to engage in an opposed role, of that passion, against the fixed opposition of the melancholy value. Oh gosh. Here's where you should have like an example, by the way, of how that works. Like that play example that we had before with Sir Claren. Unfriendly cure goes in one or two ways. The person attacks the melancholic knight, snap out of it to defend themselves, whereupon combat occurs until the attacker flees or dies. Oh gosh, when the friendly cure fails, they can snap out of it and attack whomever failed that attempt. Yeah, I don't know about that, to be honest with you. I feel that's a bit cruel. I know I say that, it does say that brutal realism of medieval fantasy. And to be fair, it's not like they did have mental health like awareness back then, but you know. Misery. Common state for a lover. A knight mopes about, cursing their foolish pursuit. They suffer a -2 to all skills and passions until it is dispelled. You gain 10 glory though. They become miserable whenever they fail an adoration passion roll. Furthermore, if it is invoked outside the presence of the beloved after the inspiration passed, the character automatically suffers from misery. Oh, wait. Furthermore, if the adoration passion is invoked outside the presence of the beloved after the inspiration passes, the character automatically suffers from it. Oh, I think that's... I see. It's, talking about... Oh, this one? Oh, I've lost it now, but I think it's on... Inspired here, right? And that's what it's talking about. So if it's a success, if it's in passion, it's the... Yeah. If a character is in passion from a critical success, they avoid this fate. Duration ends either after 7 days after the following Sunday, or cured through intervention. It requires another person to disturb the miserable knight with a successful opposed roll of their own skill, trait, or passion against the knight's passion that caused the misery. Appropriate skills include intrigue or orate. Possible traits include merciful and trusting. Possible passions are chivalry, homage, and loyalty. Oh god, if intervention fails, the misery knight flies into a rage and assaults the other person until one or other is subdued. The knight instinctively uses brawling against friends and their weapons against foes or strangers. I just feel like, oh, grim. I just feel like, why don't you just like, oh, it extends for longer, you get, I don't know, increasingly minuses on your rolls, rather than I attack the person that's trying to make me feel better. I feel that's just a bit rubbish, to be honest with you. Right. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oof. Don't know if we're going to get through this all. We're at page 25. I wanted to see where we are. We haven't really got to the Hope or Glory stage yet, have we? We've just talked about skills and honour. I kind of wanted to get to there. Alright, we'll try and go for another 40 minutes, and then I definitely have to go. But we'll go to skills, we'll go for honour, and then we'll leave combat for another time, I think. We want to get down the main things, but maybe the skills will take a little bit quicker. So it's only 4 pages actually, looking at it. It'll be quite quick. Okie dokie. So, skills are a way of measuring actions that the characters can attempt to do in the game. Actions like eating, walking, and talking are automatic and do not require skill rolls. A roll is needed for skills because they describe actions with an inherent chance of failure. A skill roll is needed when an action is a contest, when a character is under strain, being watched by nobility, is trying to hide something, and so on. No knight or lady is expected to master or even all or even most of the possible skills. So the levels we've got critical success, executes the intended action and takes experience check due to skill. Might have a positive modifier to a follow-up resolution, relevant traits, passions and skills. Success means you just do it. There may be an experience check. Failure, you fail. A fumble, you fail, but take an experience check to skill. And there may be some negative modifier. Enough? See, that's quite straightforward. I feel that's more straightforward than what we just had for passion stuff. Glory for skills. So they grant glory when performed in significant public venues. Oh, when other people are watching, I see. Success without witnesses do not count. Some skills grant glory only for specific circumstances, such as first aid being used to bring a character back to life or to save a ranking noble. The amount of glory for a successful roll is equal to 10 points, or the character's appeal characteristic in the case of courtly skills. Critically successful doubles that amount. Okay, so we're still having that sort of crunchy element of almost experience points putting over. Game Master is, of course, free to award glory for any skill roll owing to the extraordinary circumstance. So, we've got some groups of skills as well. So we've got combat skills, so anytime they fight these combat skills, weapon skills are a type of combat, yada. We've got courtly skills, that most often used in courtly settings where characters must interact with nobles in a more refined and decidedly non-hostile manner. Certain skills are required for the office of knighthood. Few knights master them all. Yeah, fair enough. They mostly deal with finding, identifying, and killing people in a variety of ways, as politely as possible. And then woodcraft skills. If by traipsing about the wintry high moors, and becoming hopelessly lost in the deep woods, or stuck in muddy pastures amidst the herds of braying sheep is your character's idea of a good time, these skills may prove useful. Why have you changed that sort of tone in that last one? Why can't it be similar to these ones? I don't know. Then we've got ones that define the skills, so that's good. Chirurgery. Oh, it says it there. There's pronunciation on it. Fantastic. Let's read what that means. So we've got. How many do we have? We've got like. Oh gosh, how many? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. So we've got 20 skills overall. Oh, and there's the combat skills there. So, hang on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 31 different skills, but 11 of them are combat skills. Right. Okay. Oh, see Appendix B for detailed rules on conducting mass battles. No, thank you. Oh, it's nice that they have here. It says nightly. You know what's I see. So I see some of these skills they overlap in their places. So awareness could be both knightly skill, but also woodcraft skill. Yeah, I see. Chenurgery. Chenurgery. Chenurgery is the delicate art of keeping the mostly dead alive. Oh, it is surgery. I understand now. I'll have to check that out. So we've got compose, we've got courtesy, dancing, falconry, first aid, flirting. Flirting is a skill that uses a combination of words, tones, expressions, movements, gestures, and attitudes to communicate charm or inflame another with lust. Ooh. Its main use is to gain someone's interest, though it may also be a source of flattery, entertainment, or delight. Folklore, gaming, horsemanship, hunting, intrigue, literacy type. So it will tell you which ones we've got: Latin, Ogham, Pictish, Saxon. Got orate, play instrument, always play instrument. Recognize. What's recognize? Represents the ability to single out specific peers amongst the nobility. It's a relatively small group of people. You can use the recognize skill to discover a person's identity and recall details of their reputation. Oh, okay. We've got religion, singing. The sound of singing voices pleases all listeners, whether in church, court, or to a lover in a warm summer glade. I find it incredibly cringy. Please do not do it. Stewardship as well. And then that's it. Okay, so I know we rushed through those, but it's not too bad. We've got those sort of... What did I say? 31? Normal skills. Normal skills is 20. And then they've got those 11 combat skills as well. Cool. Alright, let's look at Honour and Glory. How many... So that's page 39, but if I went back to... no. It's just a nice image. Okay, so we can do Honour and Glory and then we'll call it there, I think, just because I'm just aware of time. Honour and Glory. So good knights aspire to become more than they are. Above all, they yearn for honour and glory. Honour measures the conduct and quality of player knights. It reveals the degree to which they uphold the values of feudal society. Glory speaks of deeds player knights accomplish. It is the lens through which the world perceives them, the legacy they pass on to their children, and the path to immortality. Honour and glory are achieved by fulfilling ideals and realising ambitions. Honour is the measure of a knight's integrity, decency, and morality. It is the basis for personal and social conduct, both necessary and virtuous. Honour is inborn and inherent in every noble. It is automatic, so deeply ingrained that it is almost unconscious. Every noble naturally assumes that other nobles have honour until proven wrong. Oh dear. It is one's sense of self-worth and the respect that others give. It is the driving force behind all lords, knights, ladies, squires, and esquires. Honour sets nobility apart from other classes. Churchmen do not need honour, for they are supposed to put the interests of God and the church before their own. Commoners do not need honour, for they have enough difficulty just staying alive. I assume that you're talking about the game mechanics there, not just like in general. Honour upholds social norms and expectations. Loyalty to the Lord, love of family, holding to class rules and and upholding the universal custom of hospitality are all social norms. To violate these norms would be dishonourable. Honour is required. Honour requires the members of a group accord each other mutual respect and act in prescribed ways towards each other. It is dishonourable for a knight to accuse another of cowardice, because courage is a requirement of a knighthood. Actions outside expectations are outside honour. Honour includes a personal code of integrity, pride, and dignity that, if questioned, requires a response. The individual is free to determine some additional aspects of honour not related to a common social consent. A knight might be bereft of land, wealth, lord, and family, have their glory doubted, even be without horse and sword, trapped into a dismal dungeon, but if their honor is intact, they are still fundamentally worthy. Glory without honor is the definition of an unworthy wretch. Without honor, without honor, an oath is worth nothing. For without it, the sworn word cannot be trusted. It is conceivable that a knight could cheat and connive, but still maintain their own sense of honor as long as they do not violate the oath of knighthood. But it would be extremely difficult. Because glory comes from killing things, right? That's what we talked about before. Honor is different. Okay. Gaining honor. Gaining a check to honor requires a knight to perform an honorable deed that goes beyond their normal expected duties. Such deeds are usually the expression of a character's trait or passions, and thus a check to honor follows a successful trait or passion roll that also results in a check to that trait or passion. Right, the experience check, okay. The Game Master may notify players of these opportunities, and all the players may ask for if a check is deserved. Some deeds may give a check to honor include granting clemency to a foe when none was asked for, so forgiving, making a lawful decision against your own interests, in brackets just, keeping the peace in the Lord's hall, hospitality, or maintaining order in the face of a hostile mob, stations. So these are a mixture of, on here I saw there's hospitality, station, those are the passions, but forgiving, what was the other one that it had? Just? Yeah, just is also a trait as well. Right. Losing honor. So it's far easier to lose honor than it is to gain it. Once a knight has less than 5 honor, they lose their title and noble society casts them out. Oh dear. It's impossible to quantify everything that may cause a character to lose honor, but over time, the Game Master develops an intuitive measure. Examples follow to help this in development. Okay. Defending honor, so they must defend their honor. Whenever someone publicly questions, doubts, or insults a character's honor or a deeply held personal virtue, the abuse requires action. Or else. Honor diminishes. For instance, a would-be chivalrous player knight may lose honor if someone questions their valor, as valorous is a chivalrous trait. Is it? Kind of is. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, I just think they're just synonyms for everything. Likewise, a knight dedicated to being religious must defend their religious virtues. Failure to act upon an insult to one of their virtues results in a loss of honor. Where's the honor box? Is it? There's damage and stuff here, so that's hit points and wounds, which we're not going to get onto today. Maybe it's on the first page, perhaps? If I go... Come on. There's all the stuff about Closer Clarin there. There you go, that's where the total glory would be. It's honor, though. I missed it somewhere. Characteristics. Current HP. Oh, small session glory. No, you don't have it on the character sheet, do you? Am I being an idiot? A knight must also defend the honour of their family, their liege lord, and their king, for an attack on a lord's honour is an attack on the knight's own. For example, if a knight paid homage or fealty to a lord and someone publicly accuses that lord of being stingy at feasts, they may also insult the knight's own honour. The knight must act, or otherwise they will lose their honour. When they must defend their honour, they may attempt to use their honour exactly as if it was a passion to gain a bonus to one's skill. See, using passions. It's just as possible to gain honour through your traits and passions, so too they can cause you to lose it when you act against them. When a violation occurs, the Game Master asks the player to roll against a trait or passion that stands in opposition to the act, as indicated in the scenario text or Game Master Fiat. If the roll succeeds, immediately lose 1 or more points of honour and gain a check on the opposing trait. Thus, Pagan Knight with a high lustful is more likely to lose honour when their virility is called into question than a chaste Christian Knight. Right. through inaction. So a knight can also lose honor if when they ignore others' dishonorable deeds. Yeah, the bystander effect, of course. Other passions can drive you to actions and you lose honor if you do not follow through with them. So, for instance, if someone insults a knight's family, the knight must act. If someone slays their brother, the knight must avenge the death or lose honor. Revenge could come as a blood feud, or a simple just settlement. That's always one loss of one honor for those sort of things. Okay, through shame. So these are other ways for it. So we can lose it through traits and passions, through inaction, and through shame. They lose honor when they do not fulfill a vow, or break an oath. The game master decides how much honor to dock, usually between 1 and 5 points, depending on the gravity of the vow or oath violation, and the knight's reputation. Losing a formal challenge or an honourable fight, defending the king's honour on the behalf of another, loses 1 point of honour. Killing a prisoner? Oh gosh, that's pretty bad. Killing a knight who's surrendered loses 5 honour points. If the killer has this chivalry passion, they instead lose 10 points. Oof, that's pretty brutal, isn't it? And grievous dishonour. Some activities are so vile that they warrant a huge instantaneous loss of 10 points of honour, as well as other punishments in certain cases, up to and including death. These are crimes against the king, society, and the natural order of things, including breaking and entering, killing someone outside honourable combat, rape, rebellion, and working magic. Right. Well, instantly, I didn't realise that sort of stuff was on the table. There hasn't been any mention of safety tools yet, which kind of worries me a little bit, but okay. The object of this game is obtaining glory. Glory is a measure of fame accumulated for deeds done. Only nobles gain glory. It can increase but never decrease. Bad behaviour results in the loss of honour but not glory. In fact, successful bad behaviour adds to glory just as surely successful good behaviour. Glory requires public acclamation. Deeds done in secret or that go unobserved and unannounced gain no glory. If a secret deed later becomes public knowledge, the character receives retroactive glory at the time of revelation. Okay, that's quite good. I like that. Glory decides precedence. When other factors are the same. However, glory does not overrule the normal ranks of precedence. It is precedence. A great noble, such as a count with 3,000 glory, enjoys precedence over a baron with 5,000 glory. Oh, right. Yes, I see. Barons always rank higher than knights and so on. Yeah, that's the hierarchy, I get it. For every 1,000 points of glory accumulated, knights gain 1 prestige of reward, which see step 4. Must I? Alright, we're almost there, don't worry. The more glorious you are, the more likely it is that folk have heard of you and may recognise you or your heraldry. Add +1 to recognise skill for every 1,000 points glory a character has. Okay, I see that. And it never goes down, so that's good. Under proper circumstances, any non-routine act may win glory. There are 2 requirements for this. The successful resolution of an action with notable consequences and the public knowledge of the deed. So yeah, it must be seen by someone. It can be accrued for winning at combat, for obtaining a social position, witnessing great actions, or especially succeeding at a quest. The scenarios in the 3rd book can provide calculated glory awards throughout. As a game master, feel free to grant other glory awards as you see fit based on the examples given in that book and elsewhere in the text. Never award more than 1,000 glory for a single deed. Such awards are once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Then we have something called passive glory. It's a special type of award that automatically accrues each winter phase. Okay. The characters included in this starter set, so those pre-gens we were sort of looking at, they earn passive glory in 1 of 2 ways, either the appeal value and traits and passions. Other ways to earn passive glory include achieving certain ideals or holding wealthy estates. Of course. Characters of fair appeal, so between 13 and 15, gain 10 points each winter phase, whilst those of elegant appeal gain 25, and those of surpassing appeal, 19 plus, gain 50. Wow! Gosh. And then famous traits and passions add 15 points of glory each year. exalted traits and passions, which you have to follow. Add 25, and a character cannot gain more than 100 points of passion of glory each year from traits and passions. Right, okay. That's straightforward enough. What is this creature, by the way? The horrible snakes and ladders thing. Alright, that's it. We're not going to look at combat today because I don't think I can. I have to go and get ready for tonight's thing. Oh, what a great image though. So what do we think so far? We only got halfway through. Okay, I find the system interesting. The idea of rolling equal to or under, but then if you roll exactly, that's a critical. I do like that. I do like, I go to it, these the traits, these sort of opposite traits then help you decide of a role play thing about what your attitude to something is. I quite like that. So I feel there's way too many skills. I'll be honest, way too many skills. I know they're covering stuff, but like courtesy and dancing, I feel that's. I guess it's like, for me, I would put this as like a skill of like courtesy, perhaps, and then in brackets dancing. I don't know, like I feel like how often am I going to do that? Possibly. I know, because obviously it's supposed to be like this is what it's like in medieval, Arthurian, Arthur's kingdom of Avalon. You know, this is what they do as a sort of like. Did they do that much dancing? I assume they had lots of parties, to be fair. So I get that. Like these combat skills, we didn't even look at combat, but I'm like, gosh, haft, two-handed haft. You know, so I'm just aware that could be a lot, but there definitely feels things that are similar, or all that I've come across before. So that's good. I enjoyed that. Where do I put glory? Being a fool. I think I am, right? Because the session glory is there, but I wonder where am I supposed to put it? So this is glory, a total amount of glory. There's passive glory there. I don't think it tells you anywhere. I think you just have to make a note of it, like next to character sheet. That's a bit silly. I feel like the character sheet's missed out a little bit on that, because that's where I would put it. Maybe I'd put it on the maybe I'll put it on the crest, perhaps. But that's a shame. What else is there I could just quickly talk about? Already just looking at the rules, like, again, we've not looked at, oh gosh, we could have types of horses. Ooh. I am feeling there's no stuff about session 0 stuff. Like, I feel like those conditions, like unbridled passions, it wasn't the passions thing, and like, getting impassioned and inspired and getting conditions like, you know, being depressed, that sort of a melancholy, madness, and what was the other one? I can't remember now. Let me down a little bit and see. Misery. Sorry, there you go. Misery was the one. Just, and having the reaction of being like, someone's trying to help you out of it, but they fail, or they attack you. Especially when it's just talked about, people talk about their feelings. Like, or unbridled, like no one hides their feelings. So I can imagine being angry but not attacking someone. I feel that's something I would put in session 0. I would change that. Like, I think you can fail, but then it's like you don't remove the issue, and they have to deal with the penalty to the skill check, to the skill number for another mission, or a couple of missions until they can try again. You know, I just feel like anything that's like not weaponized, but gamifies conditions like this, it makes me feel a bit icky, to be honest with you, and especially if, you know, because I don't know how people are feeling in the moment, etc. So that's the only thing. I'm a bit like, I wouldn't use that system personally. I think I would change it to something else. I feel like the passions tables and the roles and stuff like that was a bit much for me just now, but I kind of like the levels of stuff. I appreciate that. Like I said, I really like the virtues, and that often it is just that D20 roll and equal to and under, and then the D6 is all the damage stuff. So I appreciated that. I think just overall, there's just a little bit too much in terms of skills. I would simplify those skills down, but I really love. Oh, she's trying to get back to it now. I really love the idea of the traits and the passions and using those. I mean, even then, could you Do you really need all? Is it 13 in the end? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. You need all 13 pairs of traits, perhaps? Are some of them similar? I don't know. I don't know. Just a thought, really. I think maybe... I don't know if you need all 13, personally. Like, because they talked about, like, worldly does not mean indulgent. I'm like, that's fair, but then... Yeah. But maybe that's based on something else. I don't know. But there you go. Would I play this for where? I think I would. I'd be interested to see how it works as a scenario. Like how does it, how you run a scenario with these characters. I'd love to. I feel like the trait stuff, the roleplay stuff is a good way to like navigate. Like, oh, well, I want to do this, but it's against my. It feels very paladins like, right? You think about how paladins have certain tenets that they must hold to, but then if they break them or go against the grain because they want to still do good, but it's not what the higher ups have said. That could be. It's that same vein. So I just thought it was really good. Yeah. I think I need to think about it a bit more. I think there's a couple of rules in there. I'm like, ooh, I went over my head completely. But if you're interested, here's where you can get it at chaosum.com's Pendragon. There's a couple of I was going to say there's not a couple of RPGs. There's a excuse me, my voice is absolutely going. As you can see, if I just go to Pendragon RPG, there's a classic Pendragon as well, and there's Paladin. So again, that's similar worlds, etc. All by Greg Stafford as well. So yeah, there you go. So go check that out. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Again, it was a bit of a slog in some places, I'll be honest. And I know my voice is not the best in terms of reading it aloud, and definitely like some new words for me today as well. So. But if you enjoyed doing this, if you enjoyed watching, I very much appreciate you being here and spending some time. Come check out What Am I Rolling, which is a twice monthly tabletop. Completely did not even type that in the chat. Well done, Fiona. Come check out What Am I Rolling, which is a twice monthly tabletop RPG one-shot podcast, where we do lots of different systems. Again, I feel like I should do this. There's definitely stuff in it. But yeah, I might need another go at it. I'll be interested to see the adventures. Maybe the solo adventure might be good actually for Aware. That's a good point actually. Maybe I'll do that, because then that will help me actually learn the rules for the passion rolls, because I think that's the one I was struggling with the most. But if you're like, there's only one podcast to rule them all, or one RPG to rule them all, we also have something called the DM's Book Club, where we read the book so you don't have to for D&D lore, and it's a weekly book club podcast. At the beginning of the stream, obviously somebody in the chat was talking about like the Baldur's Gate Gazetteer that came out on Wednesday that we talked about. Well, it's been out for a little while, but we talked about it on Wednesday's episode, and it's fine. It is what it is. You can come check us out. The final thing is, if you are like, Fiona, where can I come and talk at you and tell you that Pendragon is really good and you're being silly and it's, you just need to take your time over it, we have a Discord where you can come and chat to us about RPGs, share with us like your experiences, if you've had any experiences with Pendragon. I'd love to hear them. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday with me. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to go get ready for my night teching at the theatre. But yeah, hope you're well where you are. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Play more games, as always. I will look for the end of screen button and I will wave. I'll see you next time.